So next we're going to invite Dot McLincy up. She's going to give us a presentation. Oh, and Kevin as well.
I'm just here to support.
Wait a second. Mess things up. Huh. Looks a little small.
It's like your slides are a different.
Just a different format.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the new PowerPoint.
I'll just turn it over to you, Dot. You need no introduction.
Thanks, Liz. Today we're going to be giving you an overview of some legislation that the LSP Association has authored and has had a sponsor, and it's now in moving through the legislative process. Both Kevin and I are on the newly formed legislative committee, and we're excited to provide this information to you. We'll take questions at the end. The reason why we're moving forward with this legislation is we feel the current legislation, the existing law, needs a fix. Currently, Chapter 453, which is entitled An Act Relative to Homeowner Heating Safety, many of you, or some of you in this room, and certainly those watching, were probably part of the original group that got this law into existence. That was, what, 10 years ago? Amazing. But back in 2008, this law went into effect, but it was amended in 2010. It was intended to help homeowners who have heating oil tanks in the event of a release. This law required upgrades to residential heating oil systems. You had to either enclose the fuel supply lines in a continuous non-metallic sleeve, or add an oil safety valve to the tank end of the fuel supply lines and have it inspected and then certified by your fire department. This law applies to residential above-ground storage tanks, ASTs. The existing law was coupled with some insurance coverage. The Section 4 of Chapter 453, you're following all this, you've memorized all this, I know, of MGL Chapter 175 says that insurance will be made available to residential owners of heating oil tanks. The critical language here is that it says that the companies will make the insurance available to homeowners. They're not required to offer it, they're not required to provide it. They're just going to sit back and wait until a homeowner asks them to provide it to them. The coverage is $50,000 for the first party coverage and $200,000 for the third party coverage. But again, only if the homeowner comes and asks for it. Insurance companies do not have to inform the homeowners about the availability of the coverage, and they are not required on the renewals to tell you about the coverage again the second time around.
Sure.
As a result, many homeowners are unaware of this insurance. We feel that the law can be improved and should be improved. We've noticed that fewer people each year are being covered by the applicable insurance. There are nearly 20,000 fewer policies at the end of 2015 than at the end of 2012. These numbers came from the MassDEP report to the Joint Committee of the Environment, Natural Resources, and Agriculture, dated August 23rd, 2016. The number of liquid fuel policyholders in 2012 were over 60,000 people. The number of liquid fuel policyholders in 2015 was down to 40,000 at the end of 2015. So we feel that although we're not sure of that this drop is due to homeowners switching fuel, it might be that they're changing over to natural gas. They might be not offered it on the renewal year, or they may have sold their home and the new owners do not have an awareness to even ask for it. So we're not sure of why it's a significant drop, but 20,000 people dropping off of the insurance coverage seems significant. Anecdotally, we're certainly hearing a lot of people being unaware. A lot of residences who recently had releases are unaware of the insurance coverage. In addition, looking at the number of people who had releases at residential properties and notified in 2012, it's about the same from 2012 during the period that we're looking at, 2012 to 2015, 133 in 2012 to 125 in 2015, the end of 2015. This is a drop, but it doesn't seem significant. During this period, there were also 39 residential financial inability filings during that same period. That means that they don't have insurance or they don't have money to do the cleanups. Those people who are, those of us who know homeowners or have talked to homeowners who've had this issue, they know that we know that sometimes the retirement money goes towards the cleanups, the college fund goes towards the cleanups, and some people have lost all their savings and sometimes their house. So we know that this is a significant financial impact to residences. Costs can be from less than $50,000 per release for the cleanup to well more than $250,000 for the cleanup, in the millions in some cases. So we feel that improvements are needed to the law. In addition, improvements to outreach to the residential heating oil consumers will help homeowners know about the options. But more critically, we felt that the insurance company should provide, not just make available the insurance. Therefore, we have prepared legislation, a bill that states that we are requesting that insurers will be required to provide coverage for the releases, not just make it available. We're also recommending an increase of coverage from $50,000 to $75,000 for first-party coverage, and we're recommending $200,000, an increase from $200,000 to $250,000 for third-party coverage. The legislation currently is designated Senate Docket 436. That number is going to change down the road as they actually give it a final Senate bill, SB something. But it is currently sponsored by Senator Ann Goby of Spencer. She was the chair of the Joint Natural Resources Committee, and we believe she may be appointed again. We don't know. The appointments to the chairs have not been made yet. So we're off and running. The next steps we have in this process is we're reaching out to find additional sponsors. We are hoping to do more public outreach during this period, certainly have informational meetings both with public and with our state legislators. But one of the things we want to reach out to you all is we want more up-to-date case studies and testimonials from homeowners. If you can contact us, we would greatly appreciate some of the examples that are more recent. We have examples from about 10 years ago when the legislation went through then, but it's really important that we have up-to-date information, and there are some horror stories out there that can tell the story better than we can. So we welcome your thoughts and comments, and now we'll take questions, and it's your turn.
Yeah, I figured. Go ahead.
To what extent are you aware that perhaps these homeowners do not have English as their primary language?
We don't know that, but it's
wondering if
entirely
that's
possible.
accurate.
Yeah.
Will you be testifying before the Natural Resources Committee?
Yeah, we intend to do that. At this point, we've been advised to seek out co-sponsors for the bill as proposed, but there'll be more aggressive actions taken afterward. Hopefully we can find some folks that will provide testimony, some residents that are actually experiencing this, and LSPs. I know personally, I know somebody down in the southeast region that I hope to bring to the table, but we'd be interested in others there are.
The last time we went through this, we did have, it was the DP attorney testified for it, we had homeowner victims testify for it, and LSPA folks testified.
We're hoping to get a coalition similar to last time, but in this case, we just wanted to get it moving forward. We're a new committee, and we wanted to try and fix something that we think needs to be fixed.
Susan?
Are you considering putting together an updated fact sheet like you did last time?
Yeah, we're going to
I
post.
think that was
the-
helpful for the public outreach.
Yeah, we'll do both, post the proposed legislation, the bill, and a white paper that basically presents the issue and our planned approach to resolve it. Way back.
Last time around, there was a coalition, I was part of it with the Mass Wildlife Council. The big issue was the insurance companies. It was very clear that anything that requires them to provide insurance on any issue, not just this one, they are extremely capable of killing it on arrival. You opted to file this without, did you speak to them first, or are you expecting that the bill will just change?
They understand. We have reached out to them, and we have some strategy. We've spoken both with folks here at DEP and we also have hired consultants that work up on Beacon Hill who have connections to the Department of Insurance. So, yeah, we understand that there's probably going to be some pushback, and with our approach, we really shot for the stars, where we've kind of really pushed it to the point where we were requesting that this is universal coverage for everyone, and we expect that there'll be some compromise somewhere down the line. But the ultimate goal is to move the needle, to try to get either an opt-out or something at least that folks will be more, there'll be better coverage, just a better system. We just think it's broken. So yes, we hope we will be in contact with them, and we expect that we'll have some back and forth with them.
So you should be aware that there are a lot of insurance agents that don't know anything about this, and if you ask them about it, the first thing they'll say is, well, that's not covered under insurance.
Right.
So
It's true.
that's important.
Yep, it's interesting. I'm working on a project for $1 million home down in Dartmouth, and those homeowners have the carrier, but didn't even know they had it. So it's just, some insurers, there's an insurance company down on the Cape that make that mandatory. Others put in exclusions to avoid it all outright. So it's a real challenge. We want to try to at least make this fair. We think it's a good cause, and obviously we expect some pushback, like I said, but hopefully we'll move the needle and try to make it better. Jeff?
Do you have an idea of the rates that insurance companies are charging?
Well, the current rates for the 40,000 folks that have it is about $100 a month. So our thought is, I'm sorry, my mistake. Honestly, so we really think that if we were to spread that throughout a larger pool, it wouldn't be a real significant increase in insurance.
In my experience, I moved 2 years ago, a house that had an oil tank.
We moved it.
First and all that to the agent, and they just maybe stalled, might be a word, for providing it to me. I don't know, it took 9 months.
It's,
And I had, the certificate, all that kind of stuff, very clear. And finally, the last email I sent, pretty poignant. Then I got it.
yeah, I think it takes that, and I think the numbers support that. The scales are tipping to their side on this, and ultimately people are suffering as a result.
There's a wide variety in all of the different insurers. And so that's one reason why we feel that at a minimum, we want to start educating more and more people to remind everybody that this current bill, use this current legislation, the current law, to get your insurance. You may have to work harder with some insurers than others, but down on the Cape, there are some insurers that if you have a fuel oil tank, they will come out and inspect it and tell you about the coverage they have. There are others that won't tell you anything. So you just have to be aware of this, and I think the more people we can talk to about this and inform, the better off the residents will be. Anything else?
Was there any thought to having like a public reimbursement plan like other states have?
It was, in part of our evaluation, we considered that as an option, either a standalone 21J type program or even partnering or coupling it onto the 21J program. But we just saw that as a real uphill battle at this point, and this was the path of least resistance. It doesn't mean that those aren't options down the line, but we felt like a lot of work had been done on this particular approach. We had a lot of support from the regulators on this approach, so we figured we'd give this a shot first. But that is something that we would consider if this doesn't work for us.
And you have to be careful funds don't get hijacked like the 21J.
Well, that's it. I think,
That's
you know,
what
that was
I'm
part of
saying,
it.
yeah.
Right. Well, in considering the 21J approach, we thought, you know, it'd be really a coup to try to fix that program in the process, but then you start to lose the focus of the objective. Ultimately, you know, the objective is to help homeowners. I think there's another mission that we could take, and that is to try to fix the 21J program through legislative action, but let's see how we do with this first. Yeah. Jeff?
Do we have an idea of how many total tanks there are?
No, and we also don't have much on total, yeah, exactly, how many residents actually have tanks. So we're going to try to get some more data. I think that's important because we have to make a case. And I think a lot of it comes down to finances and how much it's going to cost residents. So we want to make sure that we have those numbers to make our argument when we sit in front of those that are going to be decided.
Separate from this, you know, there's part of this law is that the Division of Insurance gives DEP the numbers every year about how much insurance coverage there is. So that's where those pieces come from. And we put together an annual report to the legislature. And we have had discussions, DEP's had discussions with Division of Insurance about doing outreach just on the existing law and making it more obvious what's available and how somebody goes about getting the coverage. So we have their support in working with them this year on that. So while this is all going on and going forward, we also want to just make people more aware of what they currently have and how to get it. And we'll be working on that with the Division of Insurance.
Good job.
Yeah.